Hello, welcome everybody to Two-Facet podcast, the podcast where we talk about building digital products. My name is Juncal Gonzalez and I am here with my co-host,
Matt Mikulski. Hi, hello.
Hello, and today we have, as usual, another topic. Today we're going to talk about doing user interviews, right?
Yeah, why they are important
And how to do it, especially if you're not like a researcher or you don't have like a big research resources on your team, right?
So basically, how to go and talk to your customer dummy. Not wanting to call out anybody, no? But if you listen to our podcasts before, you know we rather prefer to talk to the customers than not to talk to them. So
exactly. Because we were just discussing a few minutes before that actually this makes everything like faster and less risky. Right? Yeah. And you can avoid some waste, you can avoid wasting time and resources.
Exactly. So starting off from why do I even should care about interviews is like, as Juncal is saying, now imagine you're doing something, so you had an idea and you want to build it and you have a team, so you're going to build it and you're physically going to spend time building it.
Yeah.
And it may turn out that nobody's interested or it's slightly wrong one, so you need to reinvest this time again, no? For building this, whatever it is. An interview is usually gonna take you 1 hour, and with 5 high chances you may not need to build the thing you wanted to build, no? Or it may turn out to be a bit easier, or yes, they will validate your genius and you should build it and then spend your year building.
And even if they're validating your idea, most of the times you are learning things of how can you actually develop the idea, right?
Exactly.
Like maybe some details or maybe some even new ideas to enhance it. So
yeah. Absolutely. So
always better to interview just one person that nobody.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Right.
And not having a researcher is not an excuse, no? Meaning like there is plenty of materials, books. We can like, I don't know, to name one, the MAM test, which is like widely known and super well written, that teach you, no, how to do those interviews. You don't need to be after psychologist courses, etc. No, there are a few simple techniques that can help you out going with them.
Because it is true that, I mean, it's a relatively easy task in the sense that at the end of the day you're just talking with another person, right? And listening to their problems and stuff. But if you don't know 2 or 3 principles or tricks, it is true that they can be misleading as well, right? Because you could be taking an information that is completely wrong and feeling confident about it.
Yeah, true. They can mislead you big time, no? If run the wrong way. But also there is a big part about practice, I would say, no? So one thing is the process or few tips you should be following, but then the other thing is like with notes, we will be talking about in a sec. No, it's like more times you're gonna do it, better you're gonna be at it.
Absolutely.
So it's like after this 5th, 6th interview, you're gonna be better even within the interview topic itself. What I'm trying to say is like, okay, both of us have some experience talking to customers already.
Yeah.
Even to this day, I found myself going to the interview and finding out of like, okay, my whole plan is like, let's throw it there.
Yes.
And now we're gonna freestyle over this, no? And then if I have some of those smaller principles in my mind, I can still figure it out, no? And learn new stuff. Or even we go to interview, I have some assumptions, and then on the first one it's fine. On the second one, oh god damn, we need to change the whole program, no? The whole like research question is the wrong one. We just found out we've been asking about something wrong all the time, no?
True. And also about practice, like and the fact that you learn with time. I remember sometimes at the beginning you would prepare the questions that you want to answer, kind of your research questions, and then you go to the interview, but you kind of lose focus on your research questions. So then after the interview you finish and you're like, I actually didn't find the answer to what I was looking for. Sometimes even if it's easy, it requires a little bit of preparation and some
and a structure,
tricks.
No?
Some structure. Yeah.
So let's move into this. Today we're gonna be talking about our own experience, of course, both from like Doc Planner and the user signal, the side projects we're running. Also some stuff from the already named MAM test book, right?
Yes.
So what are the most common problems we believe are happening? No, not that we have like any real study, no?
Yeah. So I think one of the most dangerous ones is to have what can be called like a false positive, right? So you are having a conversation when the other person seems to be validating your idea, but actually what is happening is that you're not listening to the other person in reality. You're not listening to their life, to their problems. You're just trying to sell the other person something, right? You're making a pitch to the person you're talking to, and the person in general, they try to be nice, especially if they're friends or family or co-workers, and they try to find the good points of your idea, right? So you feel like you're validating it, but you're actually not.
Yeah. So this false positive, as you said, can come from, in general, it is tempting, and in a lot of places, actually, people are gonna tell you, "Hey, you have your startup. Try with family, friends, and fools for founding. Test dog food it, etc." If you're doing user interviews, please talk to your mom last.
Yeah.
And your friends too, even if they're from the same industry. So we are running like a product feedback startup, and then yes, I'm talking to people inside my social group.
Yeah.
But being triple times like aware of like, hey, those people just like me and I'm good at pitching and we are working on the same things. So it's like, yeah, let's be nice to each other, and yes, Matt, you have great idea, I would invest $5 million in it, but then there's no investment, no?
And then you're aware of it in a way, and that's good.
Yeah. But this is the thing that a lot of times is gonna happen, no? On one side you think like, okay, I need to talk to customers, and I'm building like an Instagram or whatever, so I'm gonna be my own customer. No, my friend's gonna be my customer. My mom should be my customer.
Anybody can be the customer, yeah.
Which is, but they have relation to you. So high chances they're just gonna be trying to be nice and compliment you, and you don't want opinions. You want facts. So this is the whole trick about user interview. You try to get facts in between opinions and how people imagine themselves also, no?
So one way to try to avoid this, even if you're still interviewing, so first of all is like being aware of that, right? Being aware that there's likely that you can get a false positive. And second thing is like try to take a step back and not pitch so much, and try to ask them about their actual life with honestly willing to know what are their problems, right? Asking about that and listening to it.
This one, if you want like a checklist thingy, I would say if you want to pitch for some reason, move it at the end of the interview, no? If it's like in the 5th% of the interview or something, you start, and then I have this startup idea, fine. You should never do it, but that's gonna be at least fine because you heard stuff from the other person first and you may change your strategy, no? But if you start with like, hello, Hunka, I'm coming from this startup that we're gonna be doing this, blah, 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 blah. What do you think? It's like, either I just want to be nice, yes, amazing, or I want to get out, yes, amazing, can I get out now, no? From your sales call. No?
Yes.
Nobody wants to be on the sales call there. And the other thing is also a lot of people try to make it like an official thing.
What do you mean?
So it's important, at least for me, when we are going to the interview, to make sure that the process is transparent, the other person understands what's the value that they're gonna deliver to you, no?
In the interview. Yeah.
That this is like a transactional thing. It's not like a
coffee with friends. It's like So they understand the value they provide, telling you about their actual problems and being as well like honest and real about their problems.
Exactly. And then on the other hand, you need to express that it's a safe environment, so there is no right bad answers. You will not feel bad because someone will say, I don't understand your creation or whatever, especially in usability testing. Like I saw that hundreds of times, no? It's like you go to the user interview and you say like, I'm a lead product designer that designed this solution.
Actually,
it's like okay, Mr. Lead, very good ideas. You're very experienced designer. No, you're assistant making notes. No, you have zero ego on those.
Exactly. This is a good trick. Like not say never that you designed the thing.
Yeah, right? Half of the interviews I've been in my life, I was like assistant or a note taker. Never a product lead. No, never. Like,
I'm not the owner of this.
No. That's or product owner. You go to someone and say like, you're the owner of the product you're using. Come on, like. You're making a distance between, no? And this is...
Exactly. Because even if the person are not your friend or not your family, there is something, we're humans, that you don't want to hurt the other person. You don't want to be rude. So this can be misleading. Yeah.
And you want to really understand, drivers behind the person, sometimes emotions that are following their tasks, etc.
Yes.
So you need to create this... not being judged, and at the same time this person need to feel that they are not being rude to you, no?
Exactly.
In any way, that this is not like a teacher-student situation or anything like this.
Absolutely, yes.
And the last thing I would say that is like super common mistake at starting is having interviews that you don't know what did you had right now. Meaning like you leave the interview and like that was great talking.
But what did we learn?
Yeah,
because
how actionable is your interview results? No?
Because it was too generic, right? Like the
Yeah.
conversation was too superficial, too generic, and people were using words like, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I usually go there. And
I
it's
think
like,
I would do. Yeah,
I think I would do. Yeah, I think I would pay for that. But how actionable is this and how
Yeah.
truthful, right?
Yeah, yeah. Is it a fact or you again got like a personal opinion of a interviewer? So, getting there, no? So how we can avoid those bad conversations?
Yeah, so we can follow a slightly basic process. So first of all, sounds maybe obvious, but sometimes we may forget that we need to have a super clear goal and scope
Yeah.
of what is it that we want to learn, right? So it's not like, okay, let's go to talk to people and let's see what they say, because that way it's like we can end up with, as you say, interviews where we're just talking and we didn't get to any point.
Yeah. Sometimes it's fine, no? Meaning like, I don't know, I cannot imagine right now. But there are like, sometimes you open a project that is like so much discovery that you're still gonna have like your
But you
big
have
research questions, no? It's
exactly.
Like,
I mean, the scope may be broader, but you always have like a scope and
Yeah.
a goal.
yeah, you
in a
should
way.
have a goal in a mind, meaning like, what do I want to know
What do I want to know? Yeah.
after that, no?
And-
But what's important, and this is maybe I'm jumping, no? Research and interview questions, no?
Yeah.
Because I would say the goal is more like you should have this goal, but it should not be 0-1, meaning like I want to know how much they will pay from me and if my idea is good.
If they will buy it or not. That's
Yeah.
not the type of research questions,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. It's more like what are the workflows companies do for handling user feedback, no? Or
Yeah.
user feedback coming
Yeah.
from operation teams. So from product, like user facing teams need to give product back, no? What the company do there? This is my question for user
Yes.
signal.
Or what are the most painful moments, or the moments where they spend like too much time and it's a hassle for them?
Yeah.
That can be like research questions as
I
well.
would interview maybe. Depends on how we phrase them. So maybe let's go for it. Again, sorry. So the goal is like you need to know what you want to achieve from talking to those users.
Yes,
It's validating business idea, maybe super specific feature, etc. And then once you have this goal, probably you already have your research questions. So as we were saying, no, those are those bigger questions. One way of describing them I saw in my life was trying to think about research versus interview questions, kind of
Yeah.
like a tree. So a research question is a branch,
Yeah.
and then interview questions are all of the leaves and then like small sticks out of the branch, no?
Yeah.
Because they gonna go into the details from you, no? So it's
Yes.
like if people have, let's go to the user feedback, no? So our research question is what are the workflows around feedbacks coming from user-facing teams? Very specific already because we are in a very specific startup phase. From there, I would go for interview questions of like, okay, and then what are the channels you handle this,
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
Etc. So those are like more defined questions, super like trying to go into the details, no?
Yes, and also the interview questions, you would phrase them so you can actually ask them to
Yeah.
the person, and it's open enough, it's not biased, it's not like a yes/no question. Whereas the research question, you will not phrase them, it's more like for you.
Yeah.
So- so
like
yeah.
topics you want to open, like those branches in a tree, no?
Yeah, and this would be slightly different based on how much knowledge you have about the domain. So if you have little knowledge, probably the questions are broader. You would like to have more space to dig deeper into them, maybe less structure. Whereas if you really know this feature and you've been working on it for ages, well, maybe you have like a very structured questions and detailed. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's still important, I would say, to start with your research questions.
Yes.
Let the customer know if you see that they're going into the directions you want, so your interviews questions start clicking in and it's like, oh, and then the last time when I was blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, checked, no, this is the moment, okay, you start adding them and asking them, no? If you find out the user is talking about something you didn't map as an interview question and there is like a new opportunity,
Yes.
great, follow it, forget your
Exactly,
interview questions,
yes,
no? It's
yes.
more like for you to be able to follow up, no? Because sometimes it's maybe just hard to invent a question on the spot, no? So some of them you should write down before.
So I like the following up approach when new topics pop up, but at the same time, it's important to not forget your research questions. Otherwise, you may end up finishing the call and being like, okay, we didn't find the answer to this. What were we doing? And then on how to make these questions, like, do I need to be like a super expert on preparing a script? How do I run the interview? So the most good tip that I learned is to ask about the last time that something happened to the customer, right? So instead of asking like, in general, how do you do this? Or in your life, what happens? It's better to ask about specifics. So the memory works better when it starts to be tangible, and then the answers will be more specific and more truthful.
Because people are super biased. We, like, when we are thinking about ourselves, we think about some imagined version of ourselves. And this is like, you can be aware about it, but it's still like, it's gonna be like this. Everybody wants to be fit, no, and wealthy and happy and stuff like this. So you're gonna be a bit more prone to start saying like, usually I do go to gym, and in reality you go like once a month, which is not regular, no, and things like this. So you really want them to go back and anchor to something real, no? So what was the last time? Who was with you? No, where were you? What happened after? No, like, remember the real situation. If they don't have it, okay, you have bad recruiting. You should next interview try to fix the customer segment, basically, no?
Yes, all these questions that you were saying, this is like a good trick as well on how to structure your interview when you don't have like a super like detailed script. So it's like you will need to try to create a script from this past situation, like a book or a movie, and then you're asked about the characters, like, and who was with you, right? And then about the script and what happened then, and then what happened, and the plot, like what were the problems you faced and everything. So
and I believe that's a great one when you don't have like super structure, because this way, even if the new topic, opportunity, whatever arrives during the interview, you can, so let's build a structure on top of that, no? Whatever you told me that, I am so buried with X in my job. I'm inventing on the spot. I'm super bad at it. And then you, so what was the last time you had this situation? No? Why did it happen? Who made you do it? Or with whom did you collaborate?
Where were you? Like, were you in the office? Were you at home?
And then you know if they were using like a desktop versus phone. You don't need to ask them specific question. Are you using the iPhone for it? No, it's like, you can imagine, I'm doing that like on a transfer from home to work. And it's like, okay, fine. So you're doing mobile, maybe we should be more mobile, no? And this can inform your actions even if it came unstructured before.
Exactly.
But all of this structure and answers will be nothing because your memory is shit if you don't make notes.
Exactly. Notes are important, no?
Notes are super important, and very important tip is you will be able to read in some places in the internet that the best interview is the interview done by two people. So one is interviewing, second one is note taking. I would say it's the most comfortable one. But still, you need to be great note taker, so start from doing your own notes first.
This format is the most comfortable one because the person who's asking the questions can be more relaxed, right, with the interviewee and be just like listening, and then the other person is just
doing
the
notes. But I believe a lot of time this is because of the format of the notes. Not the best note taker on the planet in general, but I would say I see different types. No, you have people that will try to make like a script of what happened, no? And it was like you were asking these questions, customer answered this, and then you're trying to rephrase or interpret while doing the notes. This is like a lot of mind process, and I saw that in life. Now you have an interview, and then the person stops, types shit out of stuff, and then comes back to the interview, and then you lose the flow. It starts to be like a survey. So I'm asking you, I'm reading you out loud the question, and you answer me an answer, and then I'm typing it for you, no? That's not really useful. What really works for me personally is just quotes. I just go, I keep listening, and then whenever I hear something interesting, I quote it. Half of it is unreadable because I'm not even looking at the keyboard. That's fine. And then I'm using a lot of question marks, exclamation marks, hashtags, just to mark like important moments in my notes, no? That like, oh, this was interesting for me, or there was some anger or some strong emotion around it. And then this makes it actionable for me, no? Because even if I read it later on and I read the quote from the customer, I'm like, I can come back to the conversation. When were we? And what was the face expression? What was the context when they said that? And with those, and it's super easy, no? Because you don't need to think. You're just typing whatever you heard.
Yeah, you're not interpreting, you're not analyzing, you're just typing words and that's it. I do similar, not exactly the same. So what I like to do is during the interview, just type down like some words or some keys that will help me remember what happens. So instead of just typing the whole quote, I just type some things that will make me remember, and then right after the interview, so the moment we close the interview, then I come back to the notes and I fill up everything, because the memory is super fresh, so then I can remember what happened and put it in there.
That's also a super good one, no? It's also connected to, if possible, it's amazing to record interviews.
Yes.
Either video or audio. I would say video always better. Not to listen to them 7 times and spend this hour
and make like amazing notes later.
No, because that's unuseful. You need to do like 20 of them. So if you're gonna spend this much hours, just let's code it, no? Because then we're getting back to our initial problem of this takes a lot of time. How to make it cheaper? So videos for me, they're usually when I'm having my quote, it's like, okay, and now I want to see this person's face, or and she was clicking something. What was it? What was on the screen?
Exactly. When coming back to it, like what was exactly?
Exactly. And sometimes you're gonna see like clutter, no? That she has like 26 tabs and then 5 notifications from your application coming. It's like, oh goddamn, we are so stupid. She doesn't know. Like she feels overwhelmed because like, look at the screen. What's happening there? No, Figma, pretty, but in reality, check it out. It doesn't fly, no? And this is for me good recording, and why I use them, no? Just to jump into those situations.
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes as well, it's useful when you have other peers in the company that later will come back to the topic and they want to see the customer actually expressing themselves with their own words and the interactions they were having. So for these can be useful as well.
Yeah, as well.
Yeah.
What else? I would just say when we have notes and recordings, a thing I really like to do is share them immediately, raw, with anybody that is in a topic. The best is if you had another person in the interview, share those notes raw. Then much faster, and you can iterate over the notes. You can make your assumptions super fast, and then either change the script or keep the script for the next interviews, but it's still fresh, and you can challenge the other people, see how they felt it, etc. So even if you have this scenario of 2 people making notes, one person making notes, the other one making interview, I would still recommend, hey, make notes, both of you. Just one's gonna be a little bit less detailed, but then you have those different angles, and then it's amazing. Same is like if you were solo on the interview and you share like results with your colleague, other researcher, whomever, fast, it's like challenge of interpretation gonna be different. So when I was there, I will interpret this quote by this. The other person may say like without emotions in the context, like, hey, this person says something totally different. You're just like too much into the conversation, so you started connecting the dots, but it's something else. No, it's just like sanity checking your own understanding, no, in interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely. And what else? Well, just while doing the interview, 2 things. First, who are you going to interview? Like,
you need to think about your customers and your segment, basically.
Yeah, because maybe you might think, oh, the product is quite general, or the idea is quite general, I can interview anybody. But
there's always some people that's gonna be more into it, and people that you will be acquiring as customers as the last ones, no?
Yeah.
So let's take Instagram. So my mother does have Instagram. Me and Hunka does have Instagram. Instagram was not trying to target both me, Hunka, and my mother as a customer segments day 0, no? We are super different people. There was a very specific niche that they wanted to target. And actually you can verify that with the interviews also very well, no? So if you go into the interview and you have your customer and you go to 2 interviews and you don't see patterns, or your questions are like, I don't relate at all, most likely it's not about your idea. You just choose like too wide of a customer segment. Maybe you're not hitting your niche yet. If this continues, maybe the niche doesn't exist, but I would keep looking for the right people. You can think about, who's the buying persona for your product, who's the decision maker, who could be the early adopter, no, and things like this. But this is important. It's not that oh, there's so many people, let's do interviews, we're gonna find something out. A lot of time you're just gonna find people confabulating, basically. No, they're gonna be creating stories that doesn't exist just to be nice to you, etc.
To be part of the interview. You're asking me about, I don't know, going to the gym. I never go to the gym. I don't like it, but well, I can imagine how it would be if I would go to the gym.
Yeah, it's like ask ChatGPT about anything after 2021. Basically, this is the type of answer you're gonna get. No, the guy is also creating something that doesn't exist, and he likes to be nice. What else? I would say also with scheduling interviews, there are some things. So I would always try to be very humble, because you're wanting another person time.
Yes.
So whenever hitting someone else, be aware you want this time. So offer something. No, sometimes it's gonna be money, sometimes it's gonna be coffee, and sometimes I don't know. But it's nice to offer something. A lot of people were gonna say, "Yeah, fine. Let's just talk. No, I will help you out. That's okay." Even if they don't know you, that's surprising, but this happens in the internet. But yeah, offer something. Be clear. What's your goal? What you want to do, etc. So you're not like, oh, I'm a researcher doing something for MIT. No. You are a business owner. You want stuff from them. They will need to buy it at some point. So it's much better to be transparent already.
Yeah.
And tell them, hey, I want to sell you stuff. And let's first check if you would be even willing to buy this stuff from me.
Yes. And then when you're there, also try to be genuinely trying to learn about the other person.
Yeah, and solve problems. No.
Yes.
So even our own interviews around user signal, I did tip people to, hey, maybe instead of hours, use Excel file with this and that. No, it's gonna be fine. Your life gonna be much better, and your problem gonna disappear. Sorry, we will not sell anything to you, but your problem doesn't seem like something you need super complicated solutions to. And this is also good. Yeah, you're being better human being. You're helping out.
Exactly. And both you're making like a good use of your time together.
Exactly.
So
and something that if you're working in a product in general, you should have always on. It's like you're always discovery mode. No, there's no
yes.
There is no, I'm just going to validate myself. I just need to have like 3 customers saying yes, so I can ship this genius thing I imagined. It's like no, you're discovering. Go there,
exactly.
Be humble and set up yourself. I'm gonna be learning now. No,
exactly.
with every interview.
Because we're also different as humans. That there's no way that you go to like a half an hour with someone talking about their problems and you don't learn anything. No?
Yeah, exactly.
So avoid thinking, oh, I know my customers already. I know what they're going to tell me.
Exactly, and usually they're gonna tell you something different unless you're gonna bias them into, I'm too cocky and I'm gonna start talking and I'm gonna tell you what you need. No, and then you're pitching ideas to people, which is not the point in the interviews.
No, exactly. Okay.
So, is there anything else that you would recommend to people?
Try it out.
Yeah, try it out. And as we were saying at the beginning, it's a practice thing, no?
Yeah.
More you do them, more comfortable you start feeling, and more often you can catch yourself as like, oh no, I'm guiding too much, no? Or I'm not getting what I want to, so I need to change the question right now and just drive that conversation in a different direction.
Anybody can do it. Like you can be developer,
absolutely,
you can
everybody.
be product manager, you can be designer. It's just a couple of tricks and practicing, trying it out and
exactly.
practicing.
And if you are just starting out, also don't get too much overwhelmed by 30-minute episode that mentioned like probably 7 different tools there. It's like really just get your structure from like very unstructured questions to some structure, as light as possible, so you feel comfortable that you will know what to talk about while not having like a book of questions to ask to the customer. Don't follow that super strictly and you're gonna be okay. No?
Yeah.
And for sure, let the customer talk. No, so that's the first rule. If 80% of time customer is not talking, you had a bad interview. You should reiterate with the same customer the next one and learn that 20 minutes of talking.
Yes, even sometimes you need to happen some awkward silences, right? So you feel awkward because you're not talking, but you need to wait, and probably then the interviewee will start talking or tell you more about them.
This happens a lot of time, and there is gonna be an urge to like, oh, let's make it okay.
Yeah,
and the last time if they remember, much stronger insights gonna come from there, no? Because the brain gonna actually have the process of finding in memory, indexing that, and surfacing that to the person. So much better than whatever you're gonna guide them to find something, no?
Absolutely.
And that's all,
Yeah.
I guess, no?
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully you learn some tips to try out.
Yeah. If you have any interview that went good, bad,
Yeah.
or you believe anything we said here is great or makes no sense, like, feel free to
Yeah.
contact us and jump into the comment section or write an email to us. We're always happy to follow up either on different episodes or inside the comments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice one. See
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.